I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that, to shine like this. In a matter of time I spent on some locked up in the back of the Panda.
Good afternoon, everyone. How y'all doing today? Good, good. My name is Bernard Buie. I'm getting ready to start speaking about short-term rentals, but today is particularly speaking on car rentals. So everybody know what short-term rentals is, correct? Right? That's your typical Airbnbs or Turo or Vrbo and all of those different platforms. All of those platforms are short-term rentals. So when most people talk about renting out their apartments or renting out their vehicle, they refer to Airbnb or refer to Turo. Those are just short-term rental platforms. There's Swimly, that's for your home, that's for pools. They have cabins, they have all these different short-term rental platforms that you can host your asset on, right? So I just wanted to break that because a lot of people, when I hear people talk about, I have an Airbnb. No, you have an apartment that you rent out on Airbnb. If Airbnb.com went down today, you would still be renting out your short-term rentals, okay? So we just gonna break that right now. So how did I get into this business? I started with no assets. I didn't own anything, but I had a lot of connections all my life. I knew somebody that owned a vehicle. I knew somebody that needed a vehicle. I knew somebody that owned an apartment. I knew somebody that needed an apartment, right? I was always that middleman in this business, and that's how I built this business, so that's what we're getting ready to jump into, okay? So if you want to rent something without owning it, I'm the person that you talk to. I will teach you that from start to finish. I don't own a Lamborghini, but I know somebody that owns one, right? And if I approached them and I told them today, listen, I could turn your liability into an asset. I could help you pay that car note without you having to go and work for it, right? You already own it. This is your dream car. This is your dream house. This is your dream asset. You can have these chairs. I can teach you how to make money from these chairs by just buying it $10 one time, and then you can rent it out to party planners. You can rent it out to my birthday, funeral, et cetera, right? So that's all of the above. But today we're going to talk about specifically in the car rental game. That's cool? All right. So the first thing we talked about, what is short-term rentals? And then this is like my course. So I'm just going to go through the quick chapters and then we're going to break it down, right? So the first thing is business 101. That's how do you incorporate the business so therefore everything is protected. That's your corporation. It don't have to be an LLC. It could be a C Corp. It could be an S Corp. Of course, we're talking about trust. Everything can start from your trust and go all the way down. Market research, that's when you're getting into this business. Like, I'm from Philly, so in the wintertime it get cold. I'm not going to buy a slingshot to have in Philly as my first short-term rental vehicle, right? So understanding what that means. And then it's acquiring a vehicle. How do you acquire the vehicle? You may go and own it yourself. You may pay cash for it. You may just broker it. It's all different types of ways that you can acquire a vehicle and not necessarily own it in order to make money from it. Security insurance, that's how do you protect your vehicle in the event that something happens to it, or just having the right type of insurance. A lot of people rent out their assets and they don't know how to properly do it, right? You got a car in your name and then you go put your car on Turo, but you don't have the right type of insurance, and then your car gets stolen, the car gets crashed, and now you're in a whole world of all these other things like that. Operations is how do you maintain your business? How do you grow your business? And I'm gonna give you all the documents, the legal documents, paperwork, stuff like that. And then payments, of course, is how are you taking payments? Is it cash? Is it through a POS system? Is it through a private bank? All of these types of ways, we're gonna go through that. Listing your vehicles is where you're listing your vehicles and how are you listing them. Like I said, there's multi-platforms that you can list your vehicle on at one time and not necessarily have to maintain it. And you can have your own private vehicles and rent your own vehicles out instead of using these platforms, which is another thing. Marketing and sales, that's how you're talking about your business. It's how they're seeing your business, how they're seeing your vehicles, how are you giving it to them in the best way in that. Let's see. And then scaling your business. So you might have started out with one vehicle. You might have started out with no vehicles. And now you jump from 0 vehicles to 50. How do you do that? You don't have to own anything in order to do it. And then brokering, that's my favorite part because, like I said, I don't have to own anything in order to make money from it. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about freeing up our time, freeing up our capital in order to do things that we don't have to necessarily own in order to make money from. And then the last thing is exiting. In the event that a car get crashed, how do you make the most of that? Is it through your insurance? Do you sell it? If you're trying to sell your vehicle, or you're trying to sell the business? So we're going to go through all of those things. So of course, like we talked about, what is short-term rentals? So why do you get into this type of business? What is short-term rentals for you? Like I said, if you have the opportunity to not own something and make money from it, why not get into this type of business? It's a perfect opportunity for you to free up your time, to free up your assets, free up liabilities, and turn those things into assets all the time. Like I said, you have Verbo, you have Turo, you got Airbnb. It's all these different short-term rental platforms that you can use every single day and not necessarily make money from. But the difference, and when you're talking about this type of business, is in order for you to make money from these platforms, you have to refer that business to that owner. You don't necessarily own that. You don't know that owner. So when I first started in the short-term rental business, and specifically with the vehicles, you have to send that person to that random owner on that platform. So therefore, if you didn't have a conversation with them and say, look, you got this vehicle, it's $100 on your website, I need it for $75 and I'm gonna make $25 off of that. You don't know that owner, you can't have that conversation with them, right? So on our platform, which we develop, you have the opportunity to be a broker and make money within that system. So therefore, you have a QR code and they might have scanned it for that vehicle, and now you say, okay, that vehicle was $100 a day, I need it for $75, I'm gonna send you $25 back, and then now you just made $25 off of a vehicle that you don't own, you don't know anything about, you just know the person who needed that vehicle. So business one-on-one, this is the structure on how to jump into the business. So a lot of people say a corporation, LLC. No, it could be a C Corp, it could be an S Corp. If you're just starting off, some people use sole proprietorships. It's really up to you. But you get your corporation, the next thing you get is your EIN. That's through IRS.gov. You get your DUNS number. Sam's number, somebody talked about this earlier as far as the government contracts. That's another number to get. And then you work with a lawyer, if you don't know how to do it, to set up your NAV account to where that's how you set up your business structure in order to start receiving business trade lines, because a lot of times you'll spend money on, if you're renting a vehicle, you'll spend money on mats, you'll spend money on tires, you'll spend money on maintenance of these things. These are business trade lines that you can use from the beginning to start building out your DUNS, your NAV account. Of course, having a company website, people can go on GoDaddy, you can go on HostGator, all these different websites. Of course, you gotta have a company email, info or contact us, not your name at gmail.com. Go get you a structured company website and an email, a company number, and then that's a quick structure on how to set up a typical car rental business for your own self. So research and marketing. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Depending on which state you're in, it's going to determine what type of vehicles you start with if you're going to try to own your vehicle on your own, right? So if you're we'll just use Atlanta for an example. Sometimes it's cold here, a lot of times it's hot here. So you want to go get you can go get a convertible vehicle, but sometimes I tell people to start off with an SUV. Go get you a black truck. That can be rented out for car services, and it can be rented out if somebody wanted to take their family on vacation, or it can be rented for somebody that's going out in the nightlife and entertainment. It's a vehicle that typically transitions all throughout, all year round. And then you research your clients, depending on what type of market you're in personally, or determine where you're going, right? So if you know people who are in entertainment and they can afford a Rolls Royce or they can afford a Bentley or a Maserati, that's your type of clientele, that's where you want to start to price your vehicles at the same time. Or you may want to be in economy cars. Economy cars is very easy. 9 times out of 10 people are going to use them. They're going to use them for 10 days, 2 days, 30 days at a time. And when we have economy cars, we like to use 30 for 30. So we try to rent those vehicles out 30 days out of a month consistently, right? We get them the cheapest rate. We know somebody mom, somebody dad, somebody grandmom, they need that vehicle in order to get to where they're trying to get to, right? So you determine how you pricing out those vehicles. And acquiring vehicles, like I said, you don't have to own a vehicle. If you want to own a vehicle, there's multiple ways. You could purchase it through your business. If you're starting off and you got good credit, you could purchase it through your personal credit. You can pay for it in cash. There's swap a lease to where you can take over somebody's lease. You know somebody that's going through hardship and they already have a car, you can take over their note and do a contract with them. So after the car is paid off, you can take the title for it, put it in your trust. There's so many different types of ways that you can acquire a vehicle. And my favorite is not owning a vehicle at all, but just securing a contract with it and taking over the process of renting out that vehicle for an owner who don't really know what to do with it, and now you're making money from something that you don't own. You're guaranteeing them X amount of dollars a month. It may be the note, it may be a note plus profit. Some people just want the note paid. They 2 months behind, 3 months behind. They don't really care about making money. They just don't want to report on their credit. So therefore, they're going to give you the opportunity to take over the car, and you take over the maintenance, and then now you just got a brand new or older vehicle, might be paid off. Somebody drops vehicles off to me all the time. The car might be paid off. They might be 3 or 4 months behind. I take over the note, and now you just acquired a vehicle that you didn't have to go out and put your name on from the beginning in order to do what you wanted to get. Security insurance. This is the tracker that I use actually in all of my vehicles. It's a tracker and a kill switch. So in the event that your vehicle gets stolen, you know, I can pull out my phone right now. I can look at it. Oh, my car, it went out of bounds. Okay, let me cut it off. They get stopped at the gas station, right? Now that car is not gonna move no more. You ain't even gotta worry about, oh, you wasn't answering my phone, you owe me for 2 days? Oh, all right, don't even worry about it. I'm gonna come get my car. Don't even worry about it, right? This is a true story. I just came back from Philly, and the Mont had a vehicle in Philly. It was at the impound, right? So I went and got his vehicle. I'm from Philly, so I went up there, got his power of attorney, took his insurance up there, took a copy of his license, and went and got his vehicle, and I drove it back to Atlanta, me and Tanya, right? So it's a no-brainer. So, but prior to me knowing about trackers and kill switches, my car is getting stolen all the time. Man, I'm hunting people down, and I'm going out there, sitting in front of people's houses, waiting for them to, like, all that stuff. I done did it all. So you ain't got to go through that no more. Just look at your phone. Okay, set your parameters. If they got miles on it, you can set it to mile restriction, 100 miles a day, 200 miles a day. You can set up for radius, all of those things like that. And then it helps you when in the event that something actually happens to your vehicle. You can go to the authorities, which we're supposed to do. Just go to the authorities. Hey, my car is here. I need you to go repossess my vehicle, and they'll gladly help you to show you that you own the vehicle, and then you just go from there. And then some of these things that I'm talking about right here is having the correct insurance. So if you in this business right now, like we're talking about just cars, Lula, everybody, if you're already in the car rental business, Lula, L-U-L-A, it's one of the main rental car platforms that uses for rental car insurance, right? So if you got State Farm, and your vehicle is under your name, then your vehicle get crashed. Now you got to tell them, hey, I was renting the vehicle out. Or no, you're gonna lie to them and say it was your cousin who had your car, so therefore you don't got to go through these things. So you can set it up. It's about $220 or something like that per vehicle. It's a minimum, I think, of like 3 to 6 vehicles to start off. But it's an easier way. And if you're doing ride sharing, you can use Lula as well. So a lot of people take their cars and do Ubers or do Lyft and stuff like that. You can use this for the type of insurance versus using your personal insurance. In the event that your car gets into an accident, is what do you do, right? Having a proper contract with the renter of the vehicle. In the event that it gets stolen, making sure that if you're not the actual owner of the vehicle, you have the proper documentation in order to go get the vehicle out of impound. It may be power of attorney. That's one thing. If I'm not the owner, I need power of attorney to go get this vehicle on behalf of this company or this person. You're going to need that. Operations. So in operations, it's systems, right? So when you're thinking about renting out a vehicle on a day-to-day, what system are you using? Are you just using your cell phone and then they calling you saying, hey, I need a car for how many days? Okay. How many days you need a vehicle? What times you need a vehicle? What type of vehicle? What's the budget? All of these questions are things that you're going to ask inside of your system in order to determine if this person is qualified to rent your vehicle, how long they're going to keep the vehicle from you. And then once you do that, you obviously want to take photos and videos all the way around the car, get the mileage, and track your system, track your car inside of your own system. You can develop this system on your own. I use Google Docs. It's free. Google Drive. Take the pictures, upload them inside of it, then use Google Excel, make sure I track all of my people who rented the cars, how many miles they drove, how much they spent, the maintenance. It's an easy, free system that you can use, and I literally give you the blueprint on these things inside of it. And of course, using social media. Like I have a lot of clients who are scammers. I don't know how I just attract them, but they just always got all the cash and they just want to come rent from me all the time, right? So I started using social media to my advantage because they might have a fake ID, they might have fake insurance, and they might just get ghosts on me, right? So I started using social media as my friend with them. So yeah, come on, y'all see the vehicle? Yeah. Whole time I got them all in my video right now, just like this. Yeah, I got your face just in case y'all try to scam, make sure, because in the event that something like this happens, right, this is a no lie, right? I didn't even own the Rolls Royce truck. This is when PPP and PUA and all that stuff was going on. These guys bringing me $10,000, $20,000 cash for cars to rent for a whole weekend and stuff like that, right? Man, this dude was paying off of a fake credit card, right? So he paid me off a fake credit card, and I didn't own the vehicle. So I had to wait until the money cleared in order to keep my money, but I had to pay my owner who had the vehicle. So I gave the owner the cash for the vehicle for the 2 or 3 days, and then I know I'm gonna make my money on the back end of that scenario. Now, guess what happened? When that Monday came, Stripe was like, oh no, this is a fraudulent transaction. So then I'm like, wait, I just gave this owner cash, and I was waiting for my money. So now I ain't even get that money, and I'm out of cash because I rented his car, and now, so long story short, you already know what happened in this scenario. I had to go hunt the boy down in order to get my money, right? But I say that to say, you know, you gotta have these types of things in place in your systems and when you're using these things. And of course, frequently asked questions, that's something that I just built along the way. Those are testimonies and scenarios of everybody who gets into this business, because you literally build out a community of how many cars got crashed, how many cars got stolen, how many successes that you have, right? These are your wins and losses of things that you get into when you get into this type of business. This is payments. We talked about this earlier. How are you taking payments? Is it through cash? Is it through your bank? Like, a lot of people go and set up another separate bank account for their business, particularly in this business, because you want to show them, especially like Bank of America. Bank of America is one of my cheat codes because they do vehicle financing up to like $200,000, $300,000 that you can literally go start a fleet with using your business, right? So you can take that money, go get you a fleet, go get you 2 or 3 Escalades, or go get you 2 or 3 Corvettes, and now you done started with a fleet based off of Bank of America. And then it's an actual tax write-off depending on how much the vehicle wet. So that's why I tell a lot of people, start off with SUVs of that sort. Go get your G-Wagon, Escalade, Yukon, Denali, and stuff like that, because it's a certain weight. So therefore, when you're using this as a tax write-off for your business, okay?
1 minute, Mr. Buie.
Okay. And then listing the vehicle, right? It's how you're listing this vehicle over and over again, because this is what people want to see. If you're using Turo, that's one thing, right? But if that car is $50 cheaper, somebody's going to go with that vehicle 9 times out of 10, right? So you want to have the best listing. You want to talk about the colors. You want to talk about the specs of the vehicle. You want to go through that so people, at least they know that you're descriptive enough. And if they care about it that much, they'll actually rent from you. Social media, merchandise, these are all different things that how you want to talk about your business and when you're going through it. If you're giving them a t-shirt, like when somebody first comes, give them a t-shirt, give them a water bottle, buy them a bottle of Bel Air, so when they come out the airport, buy sparklers, get them all these things, so therefore they're talking about your business, and it helps you and it helps your business grow. And then multi-platform, these are obviously all different platforms that you can use in the short-term rental business, but these are free advertising. You don't have to pay in order to be on these platforms. So what you want to do is put all of your vehicles on these platforms and then transition them outside of using these platforms onto your own private rental platform. And then scaling the business, so that's what I was talking about as far as owning your own system, so therefore you can rent out. You don't got to keep giving these companies all these different fees in order to grow the business. You can start to bring all that money back in-house. And then there's different credit tricks and team building. All of these different things goes into the short-term rental market. I talked about brokering. It's locating the vehicle. So you don't, if we're in Atlanta and you're in Texas and you're in other places like that, you can rent out vehicles from other states and never own them. You just got to have them in your wheelhouse and have a clientele, because that's what it's about. It's about owning different things without owning it, making money without owning them. Yeah, that's my time, y'all. Thank y'all.
Hey, real quick, any questions? Any questions? questions? All right, so let everybody know where to find you. Everybody go follow Buie. Everybody go follow him.
Yeah, you can scan.
Who wants to get into the short term, who wants to get into the car rental business? I got some people in here. It keeps my bills paid.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can scan the QR code right now. This is to my course, my ebook. I'm starting to drop all my digital products going into next year. So this is a new start for me. But I felt like the time was now because I done been through a lot of the crash cars and the stolen cars. So y'all don't got to go through that. Thank y'all for your time.